Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Alex and I am a nomadic online business manager where I help you streamline your operations so that you can manage your business from anywhere in the world. And today we're going to be talking about how an OBM or an online business manager can help you project manage in your online business. Now, getting started with an OBM can be a little bit different because you're so used to, especially if you're used to being a solopreneur, you're so used to doing everything yourself, right? And when you hire on an OBM, it's a bit more than just outsourcing like you would to a VA. So if you're not familiar, a virtual assistant is like an entry-level position for this kind of work, and then the next step would be an OBM. So typically that is the hierarchy. You might start first with a virtual assistant and then hire out an OBM to help manage those VAs if you have more than one. But that's what an OBM does, is they help oversee usually some department in your online business. Typically, it is the operations of your online business. I've seen some that are also like marketing OBMs that specialize more in like marketing and launch strategy. So really it involves just some like market research and finding the best fit for who you are and who you need support with. I personally specialize in operations and systems. So I help my clients manage the day-to-day operations in their business so they don't have to actually spend so much time working in their business, and they can work on the CEO skills that they do best, ideating new products, strategies for sales and all that good stuff. So first thing that an OBM will help you with is stepping out of your project management tool. They will help you manage your business from the project management tool. Ideally, so you don't even have to go in there and manage any tasks. Right, so if you're using ClickUp, for example, it's the one I always recommend. If you're using something like ClickUp, when you hire out an OBM, you're not really in ClickUp on the day-to-day. You might have some things that you reference to write out some copy or give some additional insight or information for a project, but you're not the person who's in there assigning tasks, making sure tasks are completed on time, making sure deadlines are filled. You're not really involved in that. That's nitty-gritty details that the OBM helps you with. And if you're worried about that and you're like, well, how do I know what's going on in my business then? That is something your OBM will help you with. That's something that in my services we do weekly meetings, so we touch base and make sure that anything that needs to be discussed between the CEO and the OBM is discussed during that meeting, if it's not touched on throughout the week, and I'll give updates on what's going on in their business, right? And usually there's also some tier of quarterly/monthly meeting in terms of long-term planning. In my business, I call it a road mapping session, but it's when you're planning a little bit more long-term versus a weekly meeting is more of a touch base on ongoing operations and like projects that have already been identified to identify any kind of projects. So that would be a separate type of quarterly meeting. The second main thing that an OBM will help you take over, specifically the kind of OBM I do, maybe not if you're a marketing OBM, but the second thing that an OBM will help you project manage in your business is your inbox. Right, so while inbox management isn't project management, so much of what is in your inbox is connected to other parts and pieces for your business. And even if it's just day-to-day operations like customer service, emails, scheduling certain like podcasts, like whatever you're doing in your inbox, you shouldn't necessarily be dealing with on a day-to-day basis for the most part. Of course, there's always going to be some like CEO specific emails that need to be addressed by the CEO, by you. But if you are spending your time still working on things like customer service, requests or cases or anything that needs fulfillment in that way, managing your calendar and like scheduling that kind of thing, following through with collaborations and planning that out, all of those like nitty gritty day-to-day operations in your online business, you can outsource that to an OBM. And typically how I like to do this and how I recommend doing this in my course Inbox Mastery, which I'll leave in the task description below. That's a course I have on how to reach inbox zero in your business every single day. One thing I suggest doing when it comes to structuring your emails for success is to have some sort of support team general email that you make the public email. This is the email where you're like, if you have any questions, email this email. Like, don't give your own CEO email for that. This is the one that's the client-facing, public-facing one, and that's the one your online business manager manages. And then you'll have a CEO inbox, and that is your own personal email. You might get, that's a better email to get like newsletters if there's certain emails, like marketing newsletters you want to get from some of your favorite creators. You also might receive emails from the main like support inbox if you need to like, escalate it to the CEO if there's like a very angry client who's not something that you as the CEO should step in on and not your OBM or, a VA or whatever. That would be a good place to have that escalated to. It's like the escalation place. And this CEO inbox, your CEO email shouldn't be available to the public, in my personal opinion, like on your website or anything like that, to avoid spam. If you start building up enough traffic to your site, the more spam you'll get to an email, and that's something your OBM can like deal with. And then in terms of managing inbox management in your online business on a day-to-day basis, so typically how I like to do inbox management updates during a weekly meeting is have like a list of emails that are outstanding, that aren't urgent, and we'll talk through during the weekly meeting like what is the response we want to share with them if there hasn't been like a predetermined response in an SOP. If there is an urgent inbox management thing that needs to be addressed sooner than the weekly meeting, you can handle that. How I prefer to handle that is in a Slack channel titled Inbox Management, and I'll drop that email, like if I don't know how to respond to it or if I want some more input from the CEO, I'll drop it in the Inbox Management channel and say, what do we want to do with this, right? It depends on the situation, right? But sometimes I'll even draft like how I intend to respond, and then give the CEO the opportunity to provide feedback if they want to make any adjustments before I send the email. So that is one solution for any like day-to-day things that might pop up for your OBM. If your OBM doesn't have a Slack channel set up for inbox management, I definitely recommend doing it. Or you can just do it in the DMs too, but personally, I don't know, just like nice to have that all organized in one single channel. And then a third way an OBM can help you project manage in your business is what I like to call the brain dump to project plan process. So this is something I train my clients on doing, is to just brain dump everything they can think about for a project that they want to accomplish, and I'll do the rest, right? This phase is where you want to think more about the what versus the how in terms of systems. So what do you want to create? What ideas do you have in terms of how that would look like, how that would run? And then the how would be up to your operations system builder expert, right? So that would be the OBM in this case, because since you're working outside of your project management tool, you're not really in there anymore, you need somewhere to capture your ideas. And then if you're not sure like what's doable, what can I accomplish this week with your support, how do we get a realistic scope on what this project entails, that would be the OBM's job, which would be my job, I would go in and help you plan out, okay, what currently feels realistic based on the hours that you are currently working with. And then during that process of brain dump to project plan, I always like to have my clients, like anytime there's a project or just like an ongoing thing, I have two methods of like collecting brain dumps. One, if it's just like a single project plan, I'll have them just dump everything on a Google Doc, a Notion doc, some kind of document that I can later just turn that into like a task project plan with due dates and all of that good stuff. But you don't even have to worry about that as the CEO. And then that helps me stay organized as the OBM, and then the clients stay mentally relaxed so they don't have to be involved in that nitty-gritty of like managing those details. And then if it's an ongoing operations kind of idea, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I personally recommend having a Notion database for idea collection. That's specifically because Notion has a really good like widget you can have on an iPhone, and it's very easy to pull up that database really quickly and add a new idea on the go. I prefer Notion compared to like your Notes app or anything because it has that cloud database system. I do have the Capture Your Ideas Notion database template that I use. It's the exact system that I use in my business, and I encourage my clients to use as well. So that's one way to collect ideas. Another way is to just have a Slack channel in your workspace that's called Ideas, and you can just drop ideas in there, and then your online business manager can filter through and see what is doable and what's not. So yeah, those are 3 ways that an OBM can help you project manage in your online business. If you have any comments about how that process would look like, feel free to drop a comment in the comments below. I'm always looking out for any questions or, just like nice words. But yeah, I hope you found these 3 tips helpful, and I will see you next week. Bye.